Today on Inspiration Plus, we have a dazzling woman who has defied the odds to become the person she is today. Caroline Surtees is an experienced trainer, facilitator, and mentor. She is the owner of Olive Grove Center of Early Learning based in Perth. Orphaned at the age of 6, Caroline has not let this sad and unfortunate situation deter her from living her calling. In fact, she attributes her passion to the life she experienced after the passing of her parents. She is one person who is not afraid to stand up for what she believes in. Caroline is making a real difference in children's lives, especially those who come from less privileged and marginalized backgrounds. Coming up, Caroline shares her remarkable story with us and how she is impacting lives.
Despite all what I've been through when I was being raised, is that I've taken that as a challenge to actually give back.
This is one interview I had to work very hard to hold back my tears because of Caroline's incredible story. Thank you very much for coming on Yemu TV. It's a pleasure and an honor to me having you sitting next to me like you're doing right now.
It's an absolute pleasure, Yemu. I really appreciate your interest and inviting me over. Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to know why you're very passionate about early childhood education.
Wow. That's quite interesting and very broad for me because this is a thing that I started a long time. It's got lots of strings attached to it. And one of the things that I've actually realized and picked up is that from the word go, when I heard before my parents died, it was that I heard my parents say to me, or saying to someone, saying she loves children, because every time we received guests and they had kids, I was number one to go and look after and want to play with the babies. So I think it's just in me, and at the same time I have there is that relationship that children have, that honest and sincere friendship that they have, and an honest and curiosity that want to learn. So given an adult who's very supportive and giving them the time and the space to, it's really something that I missed out as a child, and through those I found that I can actually give it back. So yes.
And you know, the first time I met you, I was really impacted by your passion and enthusiasm. You know, you're such one person who's very passionate about the work you do. And it wasn't until later on when I got to know you a little bit more, and I got to know your story, your circumstances, what happened to you, you know, with your parents' situation when you were growing up. And I'm sure our audience would probably want to hear that story. If you don't mind, share your story with our audience so that they get to really see where this passion started from.
Wow, it brings so much memories when we talk about this. As you're a little bit aware of that, I lost my parents when I was 6, almost turning 7. But yeah, and I give you a little bit of my background is that I have 3 siblings. I'm the second born in the family, and I have my young brother, my young sister. So my young sister was left when she was about 2 years old. Really, it's very young, and things that I've endured through the time that you live away from your siblings, and as well as starting a life afresh in a different home that now you be considering to be a home. To establish that, it's really a big, I can't say traumatic, but it's a very big thing on a child's development, and does affect the child. And that's where I've come in as an early childhood educator, and that's why I'm supportive and passionate about it, to ensure that I provide a home where it's easy for them to come and settle in. At the same time, they feel that this is a sense of they feel the sense of belonging, and they want to be part of that community, or they call Olive Grove as their second home, really. Because and then the other thing is that when you're actually growing up as a child and be looked after by people who are not really your parents, you don't know how much you're missing out as a child, but you do also understand that they're not your parents, so you can't demand everything that you want. So I used to have, I'll give you an example of, I used to have birthday. My father used to treat me with birthdays and party, and not really party as such, but treats. You bring things and stuff like that. And when he was gone, I knew that that's not going to happen. And I'll tell you something very silly, which I actually thought about all the time as a child, is that, that came really significantly in my mind when I just heard that we're not going to be in our home anymore. It was when my, this is a moment. I actually used to lie down in the kitchen, and my mom would be cooking and doing the stuff, and then she would say to me, I'm going to trip over you, I'm going to hurt you, you have to get up, you don't do this. But you know, that I was in a comfort zone, and that was my home, that was my parents. And immediately, all siblings were scattered to be living with other members of families, and I was taken to a home where I was brought up. That just hit my head. I will never do that ever again, because no woman and no other parent will allow me to do that if I'm not their child. So, and I don't know why it has stuck so much into me, but I want to give that to children, to be actually comfortable with every adult around them.
That playfulness.
Absolutely, to be a child, to be to be the moment of being a child, and not that to be taken away from you, because that really builds up who we become when you're older. And despite all what I've been through when I was being raised, is that I've taken that as a challenge to actually give back, rather than be bitter about it.
That's right. That's right. You know, your parents will be looking right now, looking at you and what you have managed to achieve and the work that you are doing, and I'm sure they feel very proud of what you have done, and you know, anything, all this the memories that you have of them, you know, as young as 6, have stuck with you. And there are a lot of people who are watching this interview who are going to be inspired and be encouraged by, you know, your story, that no matter what you might have gone through in life, there's still hope. And God in heaven is watching and keeping an eye on you to ensure that your assignment here on earth is fulfilled.
Absolutely.
Wow. You know, we're going to switch topics a little bit here. Move on to something that you are doing at the moment, or something that you have done when you were establishing your business. I know when you are starting out, there are a lot of challenges you face. And what I want to hear from you is, what were those challenges you faced when you were trying to set up your business, and how have you managed to overcome them?
Oh, wow. I mean, you would understand, coming from overseas somewhere and come and settle in a new country. And it's always a challenge to do, set up and start abiding by the law and see how things work in a different by law and procedures and regulations, and just so different from where I've come from. I used to do business before I came here, actually, but I was in totally different business, as different sector. However, when I became an educator, when I came to Australia, I became an educator. I studied at TAFE, and things that I saw during the time that I was actually working, and then when I became a parent, I discovered quite a few, and I just felt that no parent should be going through this. And I felt that no children should be going through this. And we can do better, because really children are depending on us. And we are advocating on their behalf. They're vulnerable, and without us, we're actually neglecting them. And not only that, I always consider myself and say, well, the world is the way it is at the moment with the adult generation is because people behind the old generation before us, they laid that foundation. They were so nurturing and ensured that we had that foundation that we have today. But we are so carried away with what's happening, like work and everything, and forgetting to nurture our future generation. And that's number one, because that's our legacy. No matter what we do, if we haven't nurtured the people to come and utilize those things that we've used, really it's nothing. So for me, coming back to your answer is that, to your question, is that no matter what challenges will come and make me feel like I should give up or I can't do it, it's thinking about the bigger picture and tomorrow, not about me and not about just today. And I keep on having this job with lots of people that now that I'm a mother of two boys, I don't even know who's going to be my daughter-in-law, so I have to secure everybody. So I work on those things. I mean, it might sound as a joke, but we really need to ensure that everyone has received the right to be a child and the potential to be a successful and competent adult in the society when they're older.
Wow. And I know your why is actually, it sounds very, very strong, and that why is what has enabled you to deal and handle the challenges that you were facing in the way you have. But I just want to know, I'm curious, did you have the resources you needed? Were you a millionaire before? And so you just decided, how am I going to spend my money? I'm just going to use it to start a childcare center. Or how did it go? How did it all go about, from gathering the resources and putting together the paperwork that is required legislatively in order for you to be able to operate legally in Australia?
Wow. When you have a passion, there's nothing like you're a millionaire. You can do with everything that you have. So one person I would be very thankful for and always very appreciative, because this is the person who has stood by my side and believed in me and believed in my passion, as well as believed in what my thoughts and my plans and everything, and together we've achieved this. And that's my husband, Murray. Because I remember when I was doing my work as practice, so I went there because I was thinking that it's going to be, childcare will be something like a nursery school back home. But when I went there, it was quite shocking. Things were different. At the same time, things that I used to see used to break my heart, and I would go home and I was crying and I'd say, I don't want to be in this industry. I want to do something like community services. And my husband used to say, Trish, are you actually aware of what you're saying? Community services is actually worse than childcare, because you'll be crying and be traumatized with every experience that you're going to go through. So his advice was, you can do, what you can actually do is do better and change all that in future and open your own. And it all seemed so impossible when he talked about it, but I just didn't start as a childcare provider. I started with my own family daycare, working from home, and through that process, I went through a few challenges, and through those challenges, I felt like I grew to be the person. It was just a stepping stone for me to be where I wanted to be, or where God wanted me to be. And then after I finished my the family daycare came to an end, I had to stop and got a job with the Shire of East Kimberley to go on a maternity leave in the Kimberleys to manage a childcare centre. That was another challenge. So I believe that things happen for a purpose, and this is why I've taken up this calling, I should call it, seriously, because I have tried in some ways saying, let me not be bothered, or let me know that, but it still works me up at night. It's something that comes back to me, and just ways and paths just lays itself out there, and I say, well, this is something that is trying to communicate to me and say, this is what you need to do, and I can't keep running away from it, and I have to step out of my comfort zone. I wasn't actually a person like this, but yes, and when you actually find something that you love, you realize the strength that you never thought you had. So yes, working up in the Kimberleys, going through accreditation, seeing how the children that side were, the services were compared to the people, the children in the urban area where they actually good childcare centres, and I thought, no child should actually be having a different service because of where they come from, the background. Every child has got the right to this. And I remember speaking this to my boss, or my manager. And then, since then, I said to myself, I have to provide a service to where it's needed. And my husband and I took for 2 years to look for a place that will comply for both Department of Regulatory Education and Care and the local government law in terms of how space and building and car park and all that stuff. And when we found this place, where we are situated at the moment in Gosnells, I just thought that was where our services were needed. And indeed, I'm happy and honoured to give those services to that community, because the parents, the children, say the things that I wanted to give to them is what actually they're receiving. And that to me is a satisfactory. It's better than earning money or anything, because that's what I'm trying to achieve, and it's getting there.
Wow. And what I'm gathering from you is you're saying that your story is not different to any other success story that we have had. You were not an overnight success. You had to build your business over time. You started with an idea. Actually, I should say you started with passion, and then your husband brought in the idea of you having your own center, and from there you had to go through an accreditation process. You had to redo your research, your own research, to find out where your business was to be located and where your service. And again, we are going back to your passion. Your passion is not really about just offering a service or providing a service. You want to provide a service where it's needed the most. And what a beautiful way of doing business. What a beautiful way of doing business.
Well, I've always said to myself, it's actually it is business, as you've called it. But I've always felt, for me, it's not about business, it's about a community, it's about giving back, it's about building a future generation. So as much as childcare is now is a business, I feel that it should be more of a community thing rather than a business. And at the moment, I feel quite disappointed that it's been taken in a way that it has become like a commodity. Children are commodities. Honestly, people want to benefit on the children. But what is sad about it is that where are they taking the benefits? And who is going to enjoy the benefits? Who are they leaving it to? If it's not for the children, the future generation.
Wow. I wish my kids were still going to to daycare, because they will be coming to your daycare center.
Thank you.
No, thank you so much. Thanks to you for bringing a new perspective into this whole day. I know at the moment it's such a very contentious topic, with what's happening in Australia, the government's policies and things like that. But it's good to have your perspective and to see why you are successful in doing what you're doing, because for you it's not really about making money, it's about providing a service. It's a community, like you said, it's a community service. Absolutely. Ensuring that no child is left behind, every child is given the access to early childhood education before they start school.
Absolutely, and call that place as the second home.
That's right. Wow. And so you are also a wife, you were talking about your husband earlier, and a mother. What do you do to ensure that you maintain a healthy work-life balance? Is there such a thing in your world?
It has to be, otherwise, we have no families. Yes. And I'm very, very fortunate enough to have a supportive, I'm talking about a very supportive husband that supports what and believes in me and say, I'll do this while you do that. As far as I know him, he's got a bigger heart, maybe even bigger than mine. So as much as I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm not only doing it successfully because of my passion, but I've got a strong man behind me who's supportive and ensuring that our children have everything when I'm away. When I come back, he also I take over, and so we really work as a team and ensure our children have got everything. And I don't know, there are other men out there, but he is one of the greatest men, and I'm so blessed to have him as my husband.
Oh, wow. Can you give me some tissue, somebody? Oh, that was very kind of you to say. And it's good to also realize that, for our men out there, that if you want your wife to be fulfilled a bit more, satisfied, then you need to allow them to become the best version of themselves and be there to support them and encourage them and do whatever it takes to help them fulfill their dream or desire.
Absolutely.
Yes, all right. And so for, I know you now have, your business is now going, you're no longer in that starting out phase, and many of our audience right now are wanting to hear from you. What sort of, what words of encouragement would you have for them as they are starting out? And some of them, they only have an idea, they don't know where to start, they don't know what to do. But what would you say as someone who has been there before?
That's a very good question, word of inspiring. Well, what I can say is that nothing is impossible when you've put your heart and mind and soul to it.
Amen. Amen.
It's how passionate you are, and you don't have to start big. That's the mindset that we've got, is that to start you have to have something big in terms of financial capacity. Yes, you do have to have a capital, but what it has to be big is your determination, your will. And because even when you've got money, you get knocked down. But if you're not so ambitious and so passionate and determined in what you're doing, you lose it all. There are some struggles and challenges where your business is not doing as you anticipated, but what keeps you going? Yes. What keeps you wanting to carry on and make sure that it comes to where you want it to be? It's that passion, that the love that you have, and always go back to reflect on your business, why you started it before you give up. And for me, my inspiration has been the children, the feedback from the community, the families, my staff, as well as my family and friends. And this is not an easy process or easy task. However, with the supportive environment that I have around, even just a word, like I get a word from you, and that is really encouraging. Yes. And never ever forget to get on your knees and thank him and ask for direction, because he knows why he's put you in that position, and he'll take you through. He will never put you in the where he cannot take you through, or where you'll be left alone. So yes, he's always on my side, and I know from the day one when my parents left me, he's never left me.
He's always been there.
Absolutely.
Keeping an eye on you.
Absolutely.
Making sure that that seed that he planted in your life, making sure that it germinates and produces fruit. And we are enjoying the fruit of that seed, the fruit of that seed. And what wise words from Caroline. Thank you very much for such an encouraging message, and I hope that we're gonna benefit. We're gonna take a word or two from what she has said, that start with desire. Believe in yourself, look around you, establish a good support network, have people who can support you, have people who are going to encourage you. And sometimes all you need is just a word from your friend, it's just a word from your sister, from your brother, your sibling, but that word is gonna keep you going. So yes, that's I think we needed to hear that, so thank you. We needed to hear that. Yes. And so as we're coming to a close, Caroline, I know I wish we had all day to talk about everything, and I've got lots of questions to ask you, but I'm hoping that maybe at the end of this our audience can even send in their questions and we can pass them to you, and maybe we can have a second session where you can respond to their questions. And but I want to hear from you, and this is what I try and do all the time I have an interview. I want to end the interview with gratitude. Why? Because I believe that gratitude is the best thing that you can ever had in life. Being thankful, being grateful, and being appreciative of all, regardless of what you might have gone through. But I'm sure there is one or two things that you can be thankful for. And so for you, from you, Caroline, I just want really for you to tell us or share with us the 3 things that you're most grateful for.
3. What I'm really grateful about is firstly my childhood. As sad as it sounds that I became an orphan at the age of 6. But it opened up and strengthened me to the person that I have become today. Secondly, I would be very grateful, and the situation that I was put in terms of my upbringing, and has given me the insight and courage, as well as the love to make a difference in other people's lives. Because if someone did not take me when I lost my parent, so I would not have had this opportunity and sitting down here and doing what I have given back. So despite what has happened to me, it was planned by God, and that way I appreciate it very much. I appreciate having met a husband who's so supportive and standing by me and believing in me every time, even when I'm at the weakest point. This is the strength in me. And lastly, but not the least, my children. My children.
They are beautiful.
They're very beautiful, very encouraging. They love what we do, and you can actually tell that they'll grow to give back as well. Because I remember when I was actually leaving work as a trainer, and I was telling them, as my oldest son, I was telling him that can we? I'm leaving job now, and this is what's happening. You know what he said to me? But how are you students going to feel, Mum? They're going to be sad. They don't want to change a new a lecturer, or trainer. And I've felt that he's actually connected with my work, and that was very, very good. And not only that, for us to move and be part of the community where we're offering the service, my oldest son made a decision for us, because you know, we try and involve everyone in this. It's not about me. If I want to be a better parent and a better educator, and not that I'm better, but if I want to be, I'm trying to be, it starts within where I'm coming from. And inclusiveness is about my family being part of what I'm doing. I don't do this by myself, but they're part of it. And very much part of it. And then he said to me, I asked about, let me say this, because I was more worried of him to change school, because he has an experience and I wanted to change him school, and he didn't like that idea. So when I said to my husband, do you think we should move, list a house somewhere close and be part of the community, because I really feel like we're doing business rather than being part of the community, because I want to be part of the people. And we're offering the service to. And then when I spoke to my son about it, and he said, I gave him a choice and says, well, this is what's happening, and Mummy isn't feeling like she's being part of the community, and she's had an idea. What do you think? Should we move house, or should we sell the olive grove and stay here as a family? And he says, Mum, what do you mean? If we move house, we're gonna come back to this house? I said, of course, we're just leasing it out. And then he said, oh, no, don't sell olive grove. Let's keep it. Let's move and lease a house. I said, are you happy to move school? He says, yes. I don't want you to close it. I want us to go and move close to Olive Grove. That was just a confirmation that you needed. We needed to have as a family, and everyone was aware, everyone was happy, everyone was involved. We all knew why we were moving.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you have done very well, Caroline. You're raising future leaders who, you know, charity begins at home, they say, and the work that you're doing with your boys from home is going to end up benefiting all of us. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on Yemu TV and having you share your inspirational story. And all I can say is you're an incredible woman. Keep doing what you are doing, and we look forward to hearing more from you. And also, please keep speaking up. We love seeing the work that you are doing, and also you being vocal about it. So thank you very much for your time. We are very, very much honored.
Thank you again for having me. Thank you.
Oh,
see you. Thank you.